a carnival at school. And my dad broke his glasses there. Now he has such pretty glasses now. They're real pretty. I like them. I learned how to hang my legs up and do more tricks than ever. When me, Wet Cindy, and I can't go out, she does such tricks, and my mom says, well, I think she's learned quite a lot of tricks. Gracia, you better learn some. So I learned quite a lot now. I can ride my two-wheeler. Wills and I'll say goodbye, and then I'll go after Wills.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Goodbye, goodbye.
Maybe she'll sneak up after a while.
Well, once I know how to ride my two-wheeler. And they had an idea. He said, now put the rug in the basket. And then I'll put Blondie in her. And I said, well, the bike will tip over. You know she'll about tip over. The bike was so heavy. And they says, well, I don't care anyway. So he put it and he said, now, you don't pedal one bit. I'll just help you get started. Then you gotta work. Well, I was going all right, but Blondie didn't like it. So she comes right out and bangs her nose. Then she squeals. Then Freddie and everybody comes out and looks at Blondie and says, what's the matter? And then Blondie just, oh, I got hurt, help. And then they said, now, Blondie get hurt enough, and then they took her home. That isn't the thing. That's no. There was a little turtle, he lived in the box. He swam in the puddle and he climbed on the rock. He snapped at a mosquito, he snapped at a flea, he snapped at a minnow, and he snapped at me. He coughed on the mosquito, he coughed on the flea, he coughed on me, but he didn't have me. Virginia Blanchard will now talk, and so will Wells.
Let's see what it sounds like. No, I don't want to sing.
Hi!
Either get the purse or I don't pay for the meal. Well, Jack's a pretty good looking guy. Cop said, well, let him have the purse then. Then pay for dinner. So up to him, fed in his wife to find the owner. Jack came out all right. He had to pay for the dinner, but he did get the lady's purse. And you all think of Jack here going around meek and mild and as the banker, dignified, good-looking guy, but he gets himself in a few scrapes around. Now, I noticed, getting back to the subject here, so you think you want to sell real estate or a real estate salesman. First, let me tell you this. We have wondered for years if we weren't about through building houses. But I noticed in a current magazine, May issue, very popular magazine that they claim that we need 1,100,000 new houses per year from 1955 through 1960. And housing, and if we build that many houses, that'll just take care of the current need. Now, allowing for destruction of houses and allowing for those that they tear down to make room for other buildings, we're going to need 1,400,000. This housing is one of the nation's 4 largest industries. There's food, clothing, and autos, and housing is even ahead of the automobile business. Housing is a $20 billion. Housing is a $20 billion market, and it is per year. And we find this article also says, and I hope it's true, can't say from experience that FHA is much easier, but I really do think that it is. It's much easier getting FHA today, and it has been simplified for a VA loan, and we can get a VA loan much quicker, for instance, now than we could a few years ago. I can remember cases where we sold a house like January, and it'd take till August to close the veterans. Right now, I have one, for instance, I am going to his local bank to apply for this veterans loan, and we started May 20th. We haven't even had approval up to now of the loan. We're supposed to close it August 20th, or the seller can back out. I don't know how we're going to come to this. We find too that getting down to new houses, selling the old houses, I think, are on the decline as far as price is concerned. For a period they sold very well. They still sell well. They're well built, well located, not in good condition. The new houses that they're building now, the tendency to have less plaster and more what they call drywall. It doesn't crack. It's a little bit different as far as I'm concerned. It looks a lot like plaster. And they're getting more wood paneling. And lots different parts of it. For instance, in the south and the east, new houses are being built with air conditioning, much more than they are up here. Of course, we're in Michigan, we don't need the air conditioning quite like they do in Texas and other states where it's, southern states where it's not. And there's also, I think, a big tendency, big movement to get larger lots. No one wants a house right next door to you. All of us ever looking at a house, or two-family house next door. I remember when I lived in this big Irish room next door, her bathroom, which I think our kitchen. We used to sometimes eat our quick lunch in the kitchen. And go up many times. I had to slam the window shut. I wouldn't sit down on the toilet seat and let such a roar that it would kind of spoil your lunch. Getting back again to these houses and the circumstances. Construction of the houses, as we say, are much better today than were immediately after the war. You get so that many of these local builders, you can tell about who built the house and what you're looking at. And we find that we can tell from just the design, the way it's built, workmanship, and good many builders. We always try to help a buyer. We try to get a man, if he's a professional or a businessman, we try to help him get a house. For instance, if he's just young, singing, we try to get him a house that fits in with his income. Well, these are professional businessmen, but take a young doctor, get him started. been in debt maybe for office equipment, college education, so on, we find they usually will tell us that. Well, if he's making good money, we may try something just a little bit better house than he might choose for himself, although he's very optimistic. Talk to him, said, well, maybe it would be better to buy this large in the forest. Our use now, family expect to raise, and go in debt. But we don't like to see a man buy a house, the average man buy a house that's beyond his income, so that it becomes a burden to him instead of a pleasure to own it, to live there. I'm going to get in here and kind of ramble on. I like to have this a little more organized, but as these things come to me, I'd like to tell you about them. Now, in looking at houses, we call the lookers. And we have to show those people, I mean, they have a home, and oh, if just something shows up. Maybe the wife said, he said, well, I'd like to and their statement to us so many times is this: we don't have to buy, but if we could find a store we want, we would like to buy. Well, yeah, but I don't want you down here, honey. We take these lookers and show them around. Glad to do it, but we have to do that when we're not so busy. People come to town. We got a house we had this week. There's the ones that we get out and work for and really find them a house. We show houses. We have people who live in town, maybe live in apartments. Many experiences this way. They take maybe a year, 2, yes, up to 7 years to buy. I know one family that bought a house. They've been looking for a house. I know of 7 years that they've been looking for a house. They tired me out. They tired the salesmen with other firms out. And you just lose faith in your business. Everything's got to be just so. And I'll tell you what they want and what they want to pay for it. And you can usually say, if you want to just double that, I'm sure we'll find what you want. Whole here of these people that we show houses to. Now here was a doctor that bought a house on me some years ago. He was very nice. Couldn't have been better. His wife the same way. But after looking at several houses, they had most doctors take a half a day off for a week. And after showing him several houses, he said, well, I'm not going to ask you to see more houses. I'm not going to bother you more. Of course, in this case, I told him, I said, doctor, that's what I don't like. You're going to leave me now. I've shown you several houses. I'm willing to show you houses because you're sincere about buying. Well, he said he didn't want to do it more. I called him another house come up I thought he should have. Took him up here, Good Street and Outer Hill section. He bought the house. Boy, this thing's the flattest of anything I've ever heard. We have some experiences here that I'd like to just mention to you. For instance, one salesman went down on Commerce Avenue to see some property. He was looking at it for a client, a prospective client. He walked down there and called the woman. Motion like this, come on in. That happened to be just the house he was going to. He did go up there, and he said, this is where so-and-so lives? He said, yes, come in, come in. No, he said, not coming in, I just want to know about it. But that's just one, no colored one with promotion there. She's looking for a little business too, I guess. We sometimes feel that, for instance, we think sometimes of our models. He who seeks to serve another best serves himself. We find it always pays. There's something to treat people right and be kind with them and try to help them. And here about 2 weeks ago or so, Virginia. So today's humor in our bulletin. So long experiences demonstrate the best way to make money and attain success. Distinction, usefulness is to exceed the average in politeness, promptness, reliability, industry, temperance. Do your work the best you can. Be honest, patient, polite, and honorable, and someday the prize coming to you will arrive. It will not be as great as you expect, but it will be all that is honestly coming to you. You may not be able to attract attention with your wit and brilliance. Few men are. But you can attract attention with politeness, industry, promptness, fairness, and reliability. Some men storm imaginary Alps all their lives and die in the foothills cursing difficulties which do not exist. The above is commonly called good advice. Can you take it? Probably you cannot. I wrote it, and I cannot. But nevertheless, I did think it's very good. But getting back to this, he who seeks to serve another best serves himself. We find good many times just by being honest with people, we do them a kindness, we do them a good deed, and or some value, our recommendations or some value, and in the long run, it does is put money in our pocket. The doctor's running a house. He's just started his practice at the south end of town. He called me. I didn't know how he happened to call me, but he asked for me, and they said they'd want to look at some houses over the weekend. Would I be able to show them some? So I went down on Friday afternoon, took some pictures along, talked with them. Friday afternoon and evening, they drove around and looked at several of the houses, just from the outside. Saturday I went back and they said, you know, several houses here we see, but what would you think of our buying the house we're in? The owner lives in California. He's here right now in town. And we can get an awfully good buy on this house. It's big enough for us at the present time. And we can buy it for $10,200. So what do you honestly think? Should we attempt to buy it? We're going to have a different house in a year or two. It isn't big enough. We went through the house and I said, well, you better just buy it because I know we could sell it for $12,000 in a minute. If we could sell it in a hurry for $12,000. You better grab it. He bought the house. He's still living in it. Just a short time. An attorney called. Said those people surely appreciated what you did for them. They didn't know about the value of the house, whether they ought to buy it or not. Now, my wife and I are looking for a house in Baltimore. I noticed that a lot of these men that do their own houses, just a little something on the side here, there's a lot of men who buy a house now put the recreation. I was in one up here in the north end a while ago. And the man he had made some blunders, but nevertheless, he had done a pretty fair job of building a recreation room. And I suppose that his friends would come and say, well, why didn't you do this? I think you've done that, and so on. And in doing so, he put up a sign. He got just so sick of it, he put up a sign. He said, if you're so damn smart, why aren't you rich? And we find that a lot of people that do their own work and their friends stop and give them so many suggestions and try to help, but the work's done. You might as well be a good guy about it and tell them they did a nice job. Another house went into is the lady and her husband getting divorced. The woman got very, very religious. Oh, way, way overly. She just prayed and sang church songs all day long and played the piano. She just had marked all over the base, right down the paint can, and painted Jesus Saves. And just one quote out of the Bible after another all over. The poor guy went in to take a shower. And in the shower, as he faced it, it was some more Bible quotes. And The man was getting a divorce. Of course, that was not to do. That's rottenness. I shouldn't even mention that. We sell some farms once in a while. Good ones. I don't care. I don't personally like to sell them. I don't like to go out and just show a dirt farm. But we've some of these gentlemen farmers. I like to do business with them. By the way, you of course all know what a gentleman farmer is, I'm sure, but just in case someone doesn't, I'll just mention it. A gentleman farmer is one that has more hay in the bank than he has in the barn. I heard a kind of a cute little story here the other day. It's down in Virginia. Got a brother-in-law down there that's selling shoes. He's a natural storyteller. He said that there was a man, a barber, and he ran a barber shop. He had always people lined up that didn't make appointments in this barber shop like they do most of our barber shops here. This fellow would have 4 or 5 people always waiting for haircut, shave, and so on. One fellow kept running in. He'd say, "How many ahead of me?" I'd say, "3. Okay. Next day, the same guy would come in a day or 2 later, and he'd come in and say, "How many ahead of me?" "Oh, it's 4 today." "Okay, I'll be back." Every few days, the guy would come back in there. "How many ahead of me?" Well, the barber thought there was something funny about that. So he said to his shoe shine boy, he said, "Now, if this man shows up again, I want you to just follow him and see where he goes. Where does that, what is he doing here? Why is he doing this?" So next time he comes in, you follow him. Well, a few days up, the man comes in again. "How many ahead of me?" 3. Okay. Shoe shine boy got up, followed about an hour, he came back. I said, "Well, did you find out where that guy went?" "Yeah, I found out where he went." "Where'd he go?" He said, "He went to your house." We sometimes think that people looking for houses also become like the story of the child. I mean, they want all just the very best at the least possible money, of course, but think of a story about the child. His mother was always trying to get him to eat his vegetables. "Johnny, eat your vegetables. Johnny, eat your vegetables." A child about 4 years old. One day, the mother had a friend that just had a new baby, and she wanted to go over and see the baby, and they called on the mother, take a little gift over. So she went over, and the mother just happened to be nursing the baby. The maid let the woman and her 3-4-year-old boy in. The mother sat there in a robe, opened up, and her full bosoms laying out there, and the baby was nursing. She didn't make any attempt to cover it because of the little boy. The little boy said to his mother, he said, "Mommy, what's that baby doing? What's that baby doing?" "Why, he's eating his dinner." This little boy stood there and stared at the baby and nursing his mother. He said, "Mommy, why is he eating all that meat and no vegetables?" You know, we sometimes talk in houses to people, and we think that quite a few misunderstandings come up. We'll say something, they misinterpret. I was picked up the July 3rd, Saturday Evening Post, and the snowstark was just flipping it over. I just sat in the office waiting for someone. There was a man coming in to close a lot deal. And said, "How the Air Force woos uneasy wives." And I just looked at the picture there, and it showed a bunch of women and some men in Air Force uniforms. Under one it said, I looked at it and I read it, "Tip time in Japan is the subject of Dr. Buchanan's briefing for Oklahoma Girl." I thought, tip time, where they got down, I know some people are what they call tip man, but have they got where they're talking about this right out in public now, or they're in smoke and bathing suit, tip time, tip time. I read that several times when I made it tip time. Finally, I began spelling it. I said T-E-A-T, tip, tip, T-E-A-T, tip time, just sure as do, but then there's T-E-A-T-I-M-E, tea time. So chance to just understand. I'd like to tell you now a few cases. I'm going to snap this up a little bit. And see our time is going to have. But you asked for a few cases here of things that happened. I hope Mr. Fletcher, I'm glad Mr. Fletcher and Jack wanted to get him here, but I hope he's not here, and he isn't here. And he was showing some house one time. He was showing a house to a man. There's a middle-priced house. The fellow was all humped over. He had arthritis. Now, he was a businessman, but arthritis. He had to have a smaller house. And fellow Harold showing him the house. Everything was nice about it when they got the bathroom house. Now, this is the only thing that's wrong with this house is you'll have to put in a different bathtub. The tub is one of those high things with 4 legs, and the man says, "Why, hell, Fletcher, that's just the bathroom, and that'll buy this house just because of that." Another time was showing lots to a doctor. Harold was showing lots to a doctor. And he went out, and the doctor said, "Well, Harold, how much are these lots?" He said, "Well, this one's 5, and this one over here is 6. The man said, "All right. Here you are." And he opened up took his coat, pulled out a handout, counted out, and said, "Here, $1,100. I'll take them both." And I said, "Well, that's the earnest money. I mean, 5,000 and 6,000. And another time, a party that Mr. Fletcher was showing a house to, gave him a key and said, "Harold, we're going to be away for a few days, but you'll have a key to the house." We preferred to show him the fire when the owners are not there. So he was showing the house, and didn't hear his noise and everything. They got through, and finally they went to the bathroom door. Woman opened the door, and there's a woman in the bathtub reading. She thought she heard a little noise and thought it was her husband. Paid no attention. And there's another one that's of a salesman that we never know when someone calls us. The way they talk to us and so on, we don't know what they want or whether we're worth a hoot. But this is something I just want to tell you about. There's a gentleman that asked Harold one time, said, "Harold, I want you to come and see me. I want you to come over and see me. Will you do it right away?" He said, "Well, I think he wants to see me too much. He's busy and he didn't go." The fellow saw him again a few days, and then he saw him again the 3rd time. He said, "Harold," walked up in this office the 3rd time, he said, "I've asked you several times, and you've never done it yet, but I've got to see you, and I hope you can give me a couple of minutes." Well, that man, the next few months, bought a $125,000 piece of property, $155,000. Harold sold a $50,000 for him, and enough other property that made a $500,000 there in just slightly over a year. Another example of some of these things that people do is, I know of a salesman that got very much put out, very much so, at something that came out in one of our local papers. And it was put in there, of course, by this individual. Harold went to see this man, or this salesman went to see this man. He was really peeved. He was going to tell that guy, "Get that fellow a piece of his money." They had been friends for years. The way he put it in the paper there, the way it read and all, it was just lousy, terrible. And he got there and he had to wait 10, 15 minutes to see the fellow. Oh, he got so mad he could hardly stand it. Just a few minutes, the door opened, and English said, "Hello there, Mr. X. Gosh, you're just the fellow I want to see. Come on in. I wanted to see you for several days. I'm glad you dropped in. I bet you're here to see me about the same thing I want to see you. Say, you know this building over here? Well, I want to get that. I suppose I can buy it for $100,000. He said, "No, you got to pay a little bit more." And it is a sale for $105,000. In other words, keep your temper. No one else wants it. It's one or two experiences I've had that I've really enjoyed is Mr. Lear. Oh, wow, it's going to take a long time. And tell that Lear story. They were buying farm deal, liquor in its effect. Doctors say no good. Doctors say liquor is not good for you. AA says it. Skid Row claims it is. Why do we see more drunks than old doctors?